Hello and welcome to 4,000 and Counting, brought to you by Hurricane E-Bikes. I'm Watty, and today I am joined by Mr. Cam McGiffin from the Dundee Comets. Also, an ex player of mine back in the conference days. We were just reminiscing off air. Mate, you had a good age group and a good fun bunch of lads to be a part of.
Yeah, that was an understatement for my age group. Like even the lads above me, the year they were bullying me, they were good fun. They were unreal. They all still play. And then my year was a fucking riot. My year was full of people that still
Name
love
name name
fighting.
drops name drop some of the boys that might still be out there hustling and bustling in the elite league and the national.
Lee, well, year above me, you are looking at your Jordan Gregory's, your Crit, Floyd Taylor's.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm drawing a blank as soon as these
Mate,
come up.
I should
I can
remember
remember all my
because
year,
go
and
on,
then
who was your year that's still
my
kicking around?
year, obviously, Jordan Headley was a goalie. In defence, you had an ultimate Southwest team that pretty much made the whole GB team next year. So you had me, Callum Douglas, Simon Hobbis,
Yeah.
Harvey Stead, Brendan Baird, fucking completely stacked up
Was
front. You
that
had
was that the year that Bairdy did the cheeky bollock picture in Leuven when we won the tournament?
That's the exact one. Yeah,
Right, okay, ladies and gents. So I don't know, maybe I'll share this. I've probably got it on my Facebook already, so it's not like it's not out there. We win the tournament over in Leuven for the under 17, and they've got everybody out on the ice. I'm talking dignitaries. They've got fans. They've got mums and dads. There's like 150 players in this picture. Brendan Baird's front banging center. He's like, he turns around because I'm the coach. He goes, "What? Can I do a cheeky bollock?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Just watch." So he gets his bollock out and he hangs it above like the waistband of his trousers. And honestly, if they put the picture on the website at the end of the day and right enough,
yeah,
there's Bailey's bollock right front and center.
yeah. No, that tournament was destined for fucking failure.
Yeah,
Absolutely destined for failure.
they were fun though. Like I used to like it when my dad used to let you boys off the leash on those tournaments because obviously my dad was the assistant coach. But let's be fair, like
Yeah.
if he said no, I was like,
No,
okay,
everyone knew who we were really answering to at that point.
yeah,
It's
right.
like, yeah, Nicky said we can go out and have some fun. All right, okay, but what did
What
Graham
is
say?
yeah? What does
Well,
she say?
actually, more importantly, what did Carol Ann say? Because
Yeah,
Carol Ann was
that's
always there.
yeah. We're getting our ass kicked off the ice when that happens. But
Yeah.
go on, run us through some of the forwards because you had some great forwards on that roster.
Uh, on that, on the year where I was the second year, you would have had Luke Johnson,
Yeah,
Ivan
Antonov.
Antonov,
Yeah,
Ziggy Beasley. He would have been a first year. And then Owen Griffiths, Jack Randall would have been playing up front by that point as well. Yeah,
yeah.
you were stacked pretty much on
We
on the
had,
forward front as well. And
yeah, we had
then
Kieran Latchford as well. I liked
yeah,
Latch. He had a bit. Another funny story. Giacomo Raffaelli.
that was another one. Yeah,
He
yeah,
he's the kid that was blind in one eye, but didn't tell me until we're on the bus on the way
yeah,
back from Leuven. I was like, I would have put you on the other fucking wing, lad, if I knew you couldn't see out of the eye.
yeah.
I've got him cutting across the ice on his backhand trying to receive a puck, but he can't see out of this eye. I was
Funniest
like, Matt,
funniest thing I
sorry.
remember about him though was I remember on the bus when he told you, because I remember your reaction. Your reaction was like, "Fucking hell, you're not bad for like someone who's blind." Like,
Yeah, it was like, yeah. It's like you got like fucking 50% better in my
yeah,
estimations. Maybe I'll take you off that fourth line, kid, and you can
yeah.
have a go on the top two lines. But what I liked about those trips, we had a good group of parents. I think that was probably the thing that I excelled at the most in my 5, 6, 7. I can't even remember how many years was it as a conference coach. I never once had a dickhead parent.
No, we were lucky in the southwest, though. I would say, like,
Oh no, I straight up cut kid if their parent was a prick and I knew we had to go away, I'd cut him. I didn't care. Bye. Mate, that's we what God, like you say, sorry, I'll shut up. But yeah, we were lucky.
no, mate, no. I'm just like we were so lucky. I think with parents, like I remember even trips, obviously with Ryan when Ryan was the assistant coach, and then that was under 15s as well when we went to Paris. The parents arguably got on better than what we did, and we were best mates at the time. We all knew each other really well because like the Southwest Conference is so small. We were all grew up on that M4 corridor, so like we all knew each other. We all kind of played against each other loads. But like you get there, fuck it, parents were having a whale of a time, mate.
Oh
The
yeah.
parents had the best trips ever.
Hey, so did the coaches. Let me tell you,
Yeah, yeah,
I had a
you know,
good time.
absolutely.
I could tell so many stories on here that will get me on so much shit still. So I'm not going to. But I mean, like I've had Floyd Taylor save me once in Belgium. Who was the year after? Oh, I can't think who it was. I don't know. I had some good kids that helped me out some sticky situations. I remember trying to sneak past Caroline, leaving the hotel at 12 p.m. in Leuven, and we had a 5:35 face off in the morning. It's like, yeah. At that point, I smoked, so I was like, yeah, I'm just going for a cigarette. She was like, you have dress shoes on. I was like, good point.
Yeah.
Had some good times, but let's talk about your early career though, because obviously very good junior. What was it like for you breaking into the senior like kind of setup?
Senior setup, I felt quite natural towards. I was training with the Wildcats quite early. You were actually at the Wildcats when I was like my first year training when I was 13 turning 14. That was my
Yeah.
first year training with the Wildcats. You were there. That was a really good team as well. So good to like learn off that bit.
Think who do we have? Seski,
You
who
absolutely ran me in practice. I remember
yeah,
that to the day I die because I was like, cool, he's just teaching me. He's just teaching me. And
yeah.
I'm like, that fucking rung my bell so hard.
But
But
that's how it was. And if
absolutely. But the problem is now is that you don't even get to train senior until you're 16. I mean, that's what it is up here anyway.
well, there's a development on that actually, Cam. So today, let me find this post so I don't butcher it. Let's have a look. So banners on the wall shared something, and he says something 4,000 Encounter has been banging on about for years was to let talented 14 and 15-year-olds train with seniors. So I reposted it. If you're good enough, you're old enough. And I'm a firm believer in that, always
Absolutely.
have been. Look, mate, I run you in training when you were 15. Did it do you any harm?
No, look, but that's what I was going to say to be like, as soon as I started getting hit and learning how to take a hit properly, that your progression just flies
Oh, absolutely.
because it's like, right, okay, like I'm not made of glass. I can handle it.
Yeah, I can take this.
Okay, right. I don't have to now be worried when I go up to senior because I know if someone's going to run me, I can take it. It's no big deal. So you don't play scared. And if you're not playing scared, you play 10 times better.
More confident, right?
Yeah. Whereas if you leave it, until you're 16 and then you've just been watching senior that whole time, you get to 18, you don't know if you can take a hit or not.
Right, here we go. I found it. Found the article now. It's on the Scottish Ice Hockey website. Breaking barriers. Jamie Thompson. Let's try that again. Jamie Thompson unveils innovative approach to junior hockey age restrictions. So it's gone to the board that they're basically having discussions in order to allow players under the age of 16 to be able to not only train but play senior hockey. Now, whatever I have to do to support this initiative, please let me know because I am all over it. I was like you, Cam, 13, played my first like kind of crossover game, which back in the old the BNL crossover cup, basically. Oh no, not crossover cup, sorry, best of British Cup. So it was all the British guys and yeah, I was playing regular BNL games at 15, Elite League at 16. There was a good amount of ice time on offer then because obviously I would skate 16s, 19s, Bison. I'd be on the
Yeah.
ice 5-6 days a week minimum. Something we always bitch about in this country is like the lack of ice time. Well,
And the funniest thing is that if you do that, when you finally get to the Elite League and you speak to people that like Canadians that came over at like just after college, and they're like, oh, so like, is this your first year senior? And it's just like, mate, I'm nearly 8 years deep getting beaten up
yeah,
by fucking men, right?
yeah,
And like you'll speak to guys that come from really good leagues, like really, really good leagues, really talented guys. And they're like, I'm a tough guy. I'm going to fight everyone this year. I'm going to do that. I'm like, okay, have you fought anyone over the age of 21 yet? And it's just like, no, no, because of the leagues I've played in. I'm like, right, okay, getting beaten up by someone who's like 32 is
yeah. It's
fucking
heavy.
different like than getting beaten up by someone who's 21.
Who's heavy, got dad strength, got old man
Exactly. So
strength.
it did make me laugh when I got to Elite League, and it was just like, no, I'm tough. I can fight anyone, and I'm like, all right,
You're gonna have a long year, kid. Like,
yeah. So I was like, I've already known enough to like develop a fear of like dad strength, brute strength. I'm like, that is a different breed of man.
if you're 21 and Brad Voth gets a hold of you and strings you out, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Can't explain how fucked. Like, yeah, I'm tough. Okay, well, let's see how many punches at range you can handle off Voffer's overhand right as
Yeah.
he's hitting you with pistons. Or
No,
worse
exactly.
still, someone like Jeremy Corner switches up and starts just tagging you with lefts, and
Yeah.
you just come out of junior. You didn't even know the kid was a lefty, and Corney's already hit you with 15 lefts and like
Yeah.
just holding you up. You'll find out real quickly you're not that tough.
Yeah, I think
Like real
I
quick.
learned that quite early, having Dwayne Newman as my D partner at 16 years old,
What
and
a
it's
D
just like
partner.
that guy was absolutely formidable, like biggest gent you've ever met, but like
Absolutely.
absolutely formidable animal on the ice in the most respectful way possible. And it was like you looked at him off the ice, you wouldn't really think too much. He was quite a lean guy, didn't have
Yeah.
much. He was over 40 by the time I was playing with him. But then as soon as he stepped on the ice, you would watch boys that were tough, and I mean like real tough lads, like tough, like that were off the ice, tough. And it was just like, you're scared of him. Like I'm
Because he would
16
give
years
you
old.
the
Yeah,
he would
I'm
give
like,
you like I'm just gonna look through
yeah.
your entire soul. I was like,
I
what
just
the
remember being 16 years old, hitting people and I really shouldn't have been hitting, and they did absolutely nothing to me because that guy was on the other side of the ice. And I
dogs
was just
right
like,
there, eh?
no, that's real toughness. That's like
Where was that,
genuine.
Cam?
That was at MK Thunder.
Yeah, so that was the 12-13 season then. Because that was the
Yeah,
year they had a few boys, wasn't it? Randall was there, Maboya was there, obviously Dog was there. Yeah, Jake Flory there. So both Randalls. So you actually had quite a few boys playing for the Thunder at that point.
what's hilarious, so Nick, you're right, is that you look at that team and go, it's not bad. Like
Oh,
it's just good.
Jordan Headley as well.
Yeah, we showed up to most games with 9 boys. Like we
Yeah,
showed.
I mean, you're not going to win many games doing that.
No, I remember going to the Isle of Wight for my very first time. Like that was when Jeremy Cornish was there. He had the Hansel brother there, which was like his brother played in the NHL, but he was like 6'4" as well. And I just remember rocking up and going, I that was probably the only time I've genuinely been like, I'm a bit scared
Yeah,
because there's
was that
nine
your
of us
first
here.
game on the island?
That was my very first game, yeah, with
No
MK
junior
Thunder.
games or anything.
No, they didn't have a junior set up my year because they didn't have enough
Oh,
players.
what? What did you think of playing on the island?
I remember my dad came because obviously I was still needing a lift, right?
I
So
was going to say, I thought your old man would have went because it was cheap pints in the bar and
no,
on the
no, no.
island.
He was poor fucker was driving. But I remember sitting in the on the bench, and the bench is obviously right below where the crowd sit. They were set
Yeah.
right above you at that point. 16 years old. Greg Randall came to me before the game and he's like, I know you're 16, but I need you to have a good game tonight. You're not going to leave the ice.
Yeah, you're
I
done.
need you to be on the ice all times. So I was like, all right, cool. So I'm like prepping myself on the bench, things like that. And I get this whole like jug of Coke poured over
Pepsi
me.
Max down the back.
Yeah. So I just got it all on top of my head. So I'm like all sticky and things like that. I remember looking on the ice and there was like 3 guys that are over 6'2", and I was just like, I'm either going to make or break today. This is going to be me. I'm either going to quit hockey after today. Or
Yeah, just pack it in. I'm done.
Yeah, because I just remember having just the worst time. That happened like a minute into the game. This Coke got poured over me, and I tried to play the game
as well. Like, like all your back
what?
sticking together.
Yeah. I was like, this is fucking shit. This is awful.
Because I'm not a kit drama queen, by the way. Like I'm using second hand. Like when this kit got to me, it was old second hand. Do you know what I mean? And now it's some of it's probably 22 years old. Some of it 20, some of it 18. So I'm not, but I could not play with fucking sticky Coke down my back.
Mate, that's what I was trying to. And then I remember going to Greg Randall, who was great for me that year. Greg, Jamie, Simon Howard, Dog, all looked after me.
I had Simon Howard there as well.
Yeah, like I had, in terms of a leadership year where I got looked after. Me and Jordan Headley could not have asked for any better than that.
Yeah.
And I remember going to him in the first period break. I think we were already down like 5-0. And I was just like, oh, mate, my equipment's fucked, things like that. And I remember him just looking at me like Greg. Like Greg wasn't an intimidating guy at all, but he
No.
just looked at me. He gave me this look of like, don't you dare come and fucking complain to me.
Like, you quit on me, you bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
And
what
I
the
just
fuck?
remember him looking at me and going, and I'm just like, cool, no, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good.
I'm good. Just gonna suck on this iron lung before the next period.
Yeah. Honestly.
Mate,
At least
I
the Isle of
love
Wight
the
suited my
island.
game.
Yeah, perfect. I
Yeah.
love the island. Anybody that tells you different is obviously not a banger and crasher, because
No.
if you bang and crash, it is fucking perfect because you skate 4 strides and you can just run somebody over. You can shoot from anywhere. Sign me up. Not only that, as I mentioned, cheap pints in the bar, and when you play there, we talked off air a little bit about like Aberdeen and stuff. Like, there's not much there. There's 4 amazing golf courses. You got Aberdeen FC, and then you got the links. On the island, you had Speedway, and you had the Isle of Wight. That was it. You were like a rock star.
To be fair, from every person I've spoken to that's played on the island, not one person has said a bad thing about it.
It's a travesty there's no team there. Old rink.
Yeah. But there wasn't a single person that was like, oh, I hated that year. Every single person you speak to is like, that was fucking class. That was unreal.
It's like you're on a holiday. It just doesn't even count. Like, you go over to the island, and we had like a running joke, like, the law stops at Portsmouth. You get on the boat, and then it was just especially like, team nights out. It's like, the rules are there are no rules. Like, it was ruthless. And then, like, the best time I think I've ever had playing hockey, they used to do a rec tournament on the island in the summer, and Milton Keynes sent a team down, and it was like Liam Paul Jameson, Ross Bowers, Wolfie, just a bunch of fucking degenerates from Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
And then our team was myself, Scott McKenzie, Chris Wiggins, Bandy, Norm. I don't know. It was Steve Slater. It was basically just a team of degenerates, and it's just 2 days. You go hard, like hard. Everybody goes hard, and then you got to play hockey in amongst it. Honestly, it's the most fun. I got a wicked picture of Bandy. We had like the 6:15 a.m. face off the second day. No one's been to bed. Everyone's walking down with the beers and that. And Bandy's, because Bandy loves to puke. He was always like always a puker, no matter what the situation. But at that Isle of Wight tournament, mate, he was in bad shape before we started.
I was going to say, you were reading some names out there, and it's like, as lucky as a fucking friendly tournament.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, we had a pretty tough team. Literally every single guy on our team could throw hands, and yeah, I don't think anyone was in any fit state to throw hands, mind you.
Nah.
Like, I don't think anyone wanted. But honestly, it was so much fun, and the island they buy into that. They love all that. You left MK Thunder after 1 year and went off to Peterborough. Didn't go off to Peterborough. Sorry, went off to Slough.
Yeah.
Back in the EPL days. What was it like going into that roster? Because they had a lot of pretty much what you would call household names at that level.
That was a mad situation, because I walked into a room where I'm pretty sure they just won either the league or the playoffs. They just won that the year before. And I walked into that room knowing Slava took me on because I was a pretty good junior. I was making a name for myself as a junior.
Yeah.
I was like, right, cool. I'm joining this team because they've got a spare D slot, and I'm just going to do my best and try and get into this. And then by November, I'm on the power play and working on a second line because everyone had either been sacked or left.
Oh, of course. That was that year, wasn't it?
Year. So I walked into that room as like, what, 16 turning 17.
16 man though, like, you're coming in as you got to try and work your way in.
Obviously, I already knew like Ryan, and I knew obviously Waller as well, and I got like slap bang put in between them two in the changing room. So it was like, oh, cool, this is going to be my first like EPL year. Like Watty's right there. Like I knew him really well. I'm like, great room, full of really nice guys. And then by November, there was like owners coming in, screaming at people and like sacking people on the spot in front of me.
Was that Zoran Kozik?
He didn't come in and sack anyone,
But
but
was he the owner?
he was the owner at, well, him and his
Biggest
wife were the owner at the time.
Oh, Gislin, she's a cunt as well.
Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Both of them couldn't care less.
Like,
if
yeah,
you're watching,
nothing
you're
ever
both
sit-
pieces of shit. Just thought I'd get that on record for the
Nah,
87th time since I've done this podcast. Mate, I hate them both.
Nah,
But
it
what
was
they did
pretty
to
mad.
Slough,
I've told the story about 10 times to my friends about I had an owner once that used to jump on the power play in training. And like,
mate, the worst one was, so after him and Gislane split up, and this was long after I'd gone, I think it was when the Jets maybe first moved down to the NIHL one, so it was a little bit less professional. But then Greener was supposed to be coaching the team, and that Zoran's missus would be like in the change room in between the periods, like massaging his quads. Well, like they were trying to do the team talk. Everyone was like, "The fuck is this? This isn't acceptable, mate." Honestly, when I was there in EPL, this was when he first took over. That's why I left Slough, was because of him. It doesn't even make sense in my brain still after all these years. So obviously he's an investment banker and that, man. Like he's a clever boy. He makes a lot of money. Like he's a very, very rich man. But he would like be in Geneva, fucking off then up into the Swiss Alps, skiing for 2 weeks. He'd come back in. Woz would be on the board, like writing stuff down. When not Woz, sorry, Andy Hanna, writing stuff down on the board. And so I'd be like, no, IPP1.
yeah. Good. Glad he
Mate,
was
you haven't been here for fucking 2 weeks. You haven't skated in 3.
In all fairness, though, and I will give him it, right, for his age at the time, great shape.
Oh yeah, great shape.
Absolutely great shape. So
by the way, I bet he still is. Like, I think he's going to be a guy that will be in shape for his life.
Oh, 100%. He just lived that way. But he was he was a constant on the go guy. Like, if the change room was quiet just for a second, he would just start like slagging someone he didn't know.
You go, ha ha ha.
Yeah, because of the way he is, it was absolutely brutal. And then that year, we ended up, it wasn't the goalie we finished with, I don't believe, but I think we had, or it might have been the goalie we finished with. We had like 5 goalies that year. One of those guys, not Jardina, but there was
seven goalies that year, mate.
Yeah. So we had a Croatian goalie that year, but he worked for him.
Oh, Kamil Jarina.
No,
I know the other fella, Andre Vasilev. Oh fuck, I'm not the guy for names. Sorry, I'm gonna butcher this.
Worked for him.
Andre Vasijevic. Oh, yeah, that was brutal. Sorry, dude.
He worked for him, and he used to like make jokes in practice. Like when we come off the ice and in the changing room, he would then make a joke to be like, you know, he didn't let me score, so you're fucking fired. And then but dead silence afterwards, and we're like looking, and he's like, I'm joking. And it's just like, no, mate, like you can't do that. He actually works for you.
Yeah, he has a job for you.
He's a real employee.
Yeah, like he's a real guy. He gives me Vladimir Putin vibes. Do you know, like scoring fucking 18 goals in a 19-8 win in some friendly game, and then wrestling a bear. So I remember this. I wasn't there. So you talk about the year before where they won the tournament. They won the playoffs, and they came back. Might have even been earlier. I think it was when my brother was there the first time round, and they came back. They've been boozing on the bus on the way back after they win, and then they get back, and my brother's dancing on top of Zoran's Maserati, like in the car park out the front, like dancing on the fucking roof. So I was like, I don't care. It's only a car. Like the dude was rich, like real rich. I remember once. We sat there, I think it was a Thursday night practice. We're all sitting in the room shooting the shit. Like we've been there for an hour and a half. 4 minutes before practice, Zoran comes in. Anybody want any shirts? I'm throwing some shirts away. You chuck these, and I didn't know shit about anything. But everyone kind of took a couple, so I took a couple, went home. You get on Google, don't you? I said, fucking, it's £170 dress shirt.
Yeah.
What is going on? They were all all these shirts he had, and I'm talking. There was probably 100 dress shirts in that bag, and I bet not one of them cost less than 100 quid.
Had it though.
Yes.
Just one of those guys.
Yeah, he did. Did you actually get to like ever meet him or listen to any of his shit?
Yeah, no, mate, twice a week.
So he would skate with you guys twice a week.
Yeah, because we were so short on boys as well.
Oh, okay.
Craig Moran took the team over. So once Slava went to Peterborough,
That's right. And then
Craig,
sacked me, the fucking prick.
Craig,
Merry-go-round.
yeah.
Merry-go-round, mate. So again, is it down to Zoran Kozik why I got fucking sacked from Peterborough?
Hey, look, Craig, you ended up in that nice retirement club of Guildford for at
I
least.
mean, mate, don't get me wrong. It was kind of class.
So there's silver linings to everything, Nicky, because that was a class
But
club.
how have I just figured that out now? What were we in 2023? That was 9 years ago. So that was that fucking year. So Frick. Sorry, Slava. I guess I've had a vendetta against you for 9 years, and it wasn't even you. My bad. I feel stung, Cam. Like I feel stung. There you go. Have a real raw reaction right on YouTube right now. But before the wheels fell off that year, Darius Baskowskis, Kieran Long. I mean, don't get me wrong, we popped off on a couple of names on the Thunder, but you didn't have any Kieran Longs or Darius Baskowskis on the Thunder. What was it like actually getting to play with those fellas?
Well, I was lucky. I played with because our car getting there from Swindon was me, Lee Richardson, Thomas Treverdek. Is it no Focek? Is it Focek?
Focek. Yeah, Thomas. I played with Thomas as well. Yep.
Yeah, and Kieran Long. That was the four in the car until Kieran Long eventually then moved and then went to Basingstoke. But you remember that was the year Telford decided to pay everyone
Red Hockey Media
athletes that we are.
Yeah.
So
all-round athletes. Yeah, legit.
Disappeared from that. Like Dan Scott, he ended up going to Telford. So Dan Davies as well. Like
I think Joe Miller was on $750 a week year round.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise at the time.
Okay. I remember him leaving Basingstoke. Like, I'm going to leave. And he told the coach what he was on. They were like, yep, bye.
Everyone so hopeful at that point, though, of like, oh, well, if Telford start doing it, the rest of the clubs will do it. And it's just like how wrong everyone was, you know what I mean? But it was funny because it was like, I was happy for all those guys because I developed really nice relationships with all of them. And it's just like, when Kieran Long, I think Kieran didn't end up going to Telford. He went to Basingstoke.
Yeah, he did.
Remember, Basingstoke were one of the other clubs as well that were like, oh, well, if Telford are paying them, we better cough up some. So like Kieran was on good money and then everyone else that left was on good money. And I was happy for all of them because it was because I was definitely one of the hopeful ones at 17 being like, oh, well, if this is going to be the future, then
let's go, baby.
So that's absolutely fine. But oh yeah, like some crazy money got shelled out that year.
So obviously Slava took you to Slough. He then gets a Peterborough job, and the next 2 seasons you spend in Peterborough. Is that due to the Slava Kulikov connection?
Yes, no question. Absolutely.
Was his dad there then?
His dad was there my second year. I don't think he was there the first year.
Because your first year, you go in.
Actually, yeah, he was there. Yeah.
You up your point total from 7 to 9. You get to play on a bit more of a settled roster. How was that for your development in your second second season in the what was the EPL then?
That was so the first year I was there. We actually that was our year we won the playoffs as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
We were an underdog team, but like a good team. Like looking back now, people look at the names on that team now and they're like, oh, that was actually a really good team. But we had a lot of guys at the start of what became really good and eventual careers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just had a really good year, really good kind of preseason. That was a really tough preseason. We had it in like this army base camp near Peterborough.
To get your ass kicked for a couple of days.
Well, actually, the guy that worked on it And it's such a shame because I can't remember his name and he deserves the credit for it. But he actually works with the Great Britain program now in ice hockey.
Might come back to me, Cam, because I know who you're talking about. Shit.
Yeah,
I
but
do know who you're talking about, yeah.
that was his very first time working with an ice hockey team, was that pre-season with us. So
How tough was it?
yeah.
Was it bad?
Oh no, mate, it broke us.
It's like legit. I'm sure it was designed to break you if it did.
But even so, Slava was still playing at the time, right? So Slava comes to the end of us at training camp. James Hutchinson's getting like his hip worked on because his hip was fucked from it.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I think we bent a bit hard at the training camp.
It's a bit late now.
Yeah. So we're all sat there. I've just turned 18, just back from Magaluf just before the training camp.
Couple of weeks in Shag and then straight into training camp.
And walked into this training camp and I was just like, I thought I was in really good shape at the time. I worked really hard. And then I got to this training camp and I was like, I'm a mess.
Yeah, that was not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
You got to play with one of my favourite teammates. I only got to play with him for a very short stint. But I love Greg Pick.
Greg Pick.
What a fucking beauty that guy is.
You know what? He was such a nice guy, but I felt like he didn't get appreciated as much as what, in my eyes, someone who does what he does should be appreciated.
Yeah, unless you play that role and then you love him.
Yeah, because we were an extremely hardworking team. We were a well-drilled team. Like, we had a huge European influence on that team. We weren't tough, but we were gritty, we were hardworking, and people hated playing against that team because we were just absolutely ruthless. But then a guy like him, I don't think got appreciated enough considering what he brought to a team.
Yeah.
Like, granted, should he have been fighting everyone that he did? Probably not. No, but never. He would never have said no.
I scrapped him. I think his first game back from junior or wherever he'd been. He run Seski when I was playing for Basingstoke, and I was just like, I didn't even know this kid. I was like, let's go. He's like, all right. I tried to get him. So he fell down after a couple of shots. I mean, the video's on YouTube, and I'm in the box. I'm like, good job, kid. But as soon as we get out of this box, we're going fucking helmets off center ice, and he's going, nope. I was like, yeah, we are. I was like, yeah, we are. And he was like, no. And then I got to play with him the next year.
Yeah.
And for me, it was always nice to have another guy that's willing to do it.
Yeah.
Because when I was, because obviously playing the role I played, I was always either first or second line center. I was always generally first or second PP unit. I was there.
Yeah.
And then I had to fight 10 times a season. So, like, if I could go and have someone like Picky there,
yeah,
I could bring that down to 7, 6, maybe. You know, if I want to, and I like it.
But that's 4 more games you're getting 100% ice on. You know what I mean?
Exactly. There's 4 less chances of breaking your hand per season. Because these are the things that people don't really think about. Yeah, you love it when we all go out there and drop our gloves and punch each other. And hey, I'm all for it, and I absolutely love it. And I can't wait to talk about your punch up with the Tigers a little bit later in this episode. But the risk is very clear. You have bare knuckles. If you punch your forehead wrong, you're going to break fingers. You're going to break your hand.
Hey, I'm still recovering from last year. So
are you really? See, this is what we're talking about. And then we all go out and do our self-employed jobs or whatever it is, and we need our hands for them. But hockey's hockey, and I would never take it out of it. The second year in Phantom Land, you brought in a guy by the name of Craig Scott who put up 78 points, and from what I remember of him, he was a hell of a player. What was it like playing with him?
Yeah, all-rounder, probably the best way to describe him. He just wasn't, if you looked at him, you weren't like, oh, he's so fast, or oh, he's so skillful, but there was nothing he was bad at.
Yeah.
So, you know, when he put him on a line with the imports we had, or even with the British guys that we had, he was just doing nothing wrong. And that's what made him what he was. He just would do no wrong. And he was like a perfect gent off the ice as well. Just one of those guys
nice.
that's all round.
You love that. And you get to play with Darius again in Peterborough. For those that maybe didn't get to see Darius play, how would you rate him? Because I always really rated him very highly.
I laugh right when I talk about Darius because I seen like a Darius glow up is what I would call it.
Yeah.
So when I was in Slough with him, he was overweight. He was drinking quite a lot, and he was in really bad shape. Like
Hard, by the way, as well.
he was like really like just good hands, good because obviously I had like Mindy Kiris there with me as well.
So good.
And then I showed up for this training camp in Peterborough, and no word of a lie, Darius Bliskauskas had a six pack.
I was shredded, wasn't it?
I was just like, what happened? And he's just like, oh, just, started doing a couple push ups. I'm like, all right, okay,
All right.
yeah, push up. And I
fucking
remember,
on the old Lithuanian gas, was he?
yeah, and I was like, his years in Peterborough, and I was just like, he's fucking unreal. Like, he's
So good.
really good. Like,
He's one of the people that, and you'll know this from being a D man, when you step up on someone that's got a head of steam. I was back covering D. Just when I think he was playing. I can't remember who I was playing. Maybe I was playing for Swindon. He was playing for Slough, and I stepped up on him with like pretty much next to zero speed, and he was coming through the neutral ice at full tilt. I reckon that's one of the hardest I've ever been hit by a human being in my life.
you even noticed you. You would have just been like a fly, just pegged right off him. Like,
Mate,
he was so
it's one of them. It hits you in the sternum. You go,
yeah.
it's like, uh-oh. That's a fucking long way back to the bedroom. Yeah. Honestly, mate, because you don't, like you say, you look at Darius, he was lean in that, but he wasn't massive, but he was strong on the puck.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
You talked about Mindy. How good was it playing with Mindy? How he was exceptional in the EPL days.
Mindy was, as much as I had a great mentor in Dwayne Newman my first year, playing with Mindy Kiris my second year was like, right, okay, as much as I've learned a lot about the game from Dwayne, I've learned a lot about like how I should carry myself. Mindy was great on a technical aspect of like, Mindy didn't have to hit anyone. Mindy didn't have to lay a big hit. Mindy didn't have to, take 2-on-1s especially or anything like that. He just knew how to be the best D-man possible. And it was like, no one gets past you on a one-on-one. You make a basic pass.
So hard to play against one-on-one, mate. Honestly, so hard.
Yeah. So that's why I learned so much from Mindy, where it was just like, no one gets past you. There's not an option. Like that wasn't a thing that registered in his head. If it was a one-on-one straight to the net, the D-man must win every time.
He obviously gone on to be Lithuanian national team coach, and that would be the surprise of absolutely zero people that know him.
No, not at all. He's absolute greyhound as well. He's one of those guys. He'll be fit at 70. Like,
he'll always be fit.
Like Instagram or anything like that. But he's still like wakeboards and dives and like the guy's in better
living
shape.
The life.
He's in better shape than 18-year-old me. Forget fucking 27-year-old.
Yeah, and there's a few guys like that. And funny enough, like Seski's the same. Seski will have a fucking six-pack to the day he dies. Like, he's just lean, shredded, good genetics, always in good shape. Again, you talk about Mindy, guys like those boys, they always had them good genetics going on. Big, strong Eastern European boys, and they could play the game the right way. Obviously, we've been touching on like a lot of your club stuff, but like myself, you were lucky enough to pull on the national team colours. What was it like the first time you get to pull on that GB sweater away at a tournament in the World Champs and represent your country?
It's funny you mentioned that away in a World Champ. I was in.
Was your Dumfries,
which was like, it was still fine. I think it was one of the very few first times that like Scotland or like Britain had hosted. So we got put up in like the fanciest hotel.
Oh yeah, nice.
It's food. We had a big dinner like halfway through the tournament, which was all the parents were invited, and like it was unreal. We almost got relegated though.
Oh shit! What division was it? 2A.
Yeah.
2A. So how did you nearly get relegated from that division with that team? I'm looking through that team right now, ladies and gents. Listen to this team. Sam Duggan, Alex Forbes, Vanny Antonoff, Ollie Bettridge, Lewis Hook, Ben Richards, Lee Bonner, Harvey said, Luke Johnson, William Atwell, Cal Douglas, Cal Reed, Simon Hobbis, Alex White, Owen Griffiths, Glenn Billen, Jordan Crow, Michael Stratford, and Josh Grieveson, and then Dennis Bell and Jordan Headley in net. How the fuck did you boys nearly get relegated with that team?
Because we had too much fun in the hotel.
Fair. Fair.
That team, you look at that team now. If that team got put together now, you would struggle to find a British team that would beat that team right now.
Yeah.
Like we're all 27, 26. You would really struggle to put a team together that have British boys that could beat us right now.
Help me out with a couple of boys there because William Atwell, I don't know who that is. Callum Reed, I don't know who that is. And that's about it. I know the rest of the boys.
Callum Reed was a Whitley Bay lad.
Right. Okay.
Quite a tall defenseman, quite well built and stuff. I'm pretty sure he doesn't play anymore.
Okay.
And then Will Atwell was a Milton Keynes and Swindon junior. He then went abroad to play. I'm pretty sure he played. He did OHA abroad. He did a few other things.
College as well, by the looks of things. Yeah.
I couldn't tell you where he's at, what he's doing now, but he was a bit of a riot.
Okay, so he went to Canada for 2 years and then hung him up in 2014. So
no, he was playing for a lot longer than that. He ended up playing for like different schools across the US.
Right. Okay. Nice.
College deals, but there's a funny moment, right? And anyone that's on this team will remember this because it was without doubt one of the funniest fucking things I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm buzzing for this. Let's go.
He stayed up all night and it was either a practice that morning or something like a pre-game skate. And we're all there, and like GB rules is like everyone decide the night before, it's like, right, white polos or like red t-shirts. Like everyone got given the same shit at the start of the week, right?
Yeah.
So it was like, I think it was like everyone had to wear white polos. So there's 22 lads wearing white polos downstairs, apart from this one lad led on the sofa that we got told at the start of the week, don't lie on because it's in the lobby. So like
right where everyone's coming in.
Yeah. So he's led back like that. And what was our coach's name at the time? I can't remember. It was a coach from Whitley Bay, like northern guy, like hard as nails. And he comes down and he's like, "Where's your white polo?" He like shouts at Will that's led on the thing like that, hung over his hell still because he snuck alcohol in or something. and he like looked up, looked at him, looked back, and he's like, "Oh shit, I thought it was a coach." And he went like trying to go back to sleep. So this guy's just screamed at him. It's like, "I am a fucking coach." And that was it. Like Will just darts off like that. But obviously there's 22 boys like around him just pissing themselves.
Roaring up.
He got benched that night. I can't remember who we were playing. I think we were playing like Croatia or something. It was one of the games we might have even won. And so he's pissed off. He got benched. And then we go to play Lithuania on our last game. It's a must win for us not to get relegated. And I think Will went out and scored 2 goals. He was one of them, like, had the most natural, raw talent you've ever seen.
Yeah, but just a wild card.
Yeah, just a riot. But everyone loved him for it. So anyone on that team could tell you about when Will was like, "Oh shit, I thought you were a coach," and it was like,
"Oopsie." Yeah. Hey, it's not the end of the world. He went out and scored 2 goals. So that's what we like. You got to play the second time, but this time it was with the under-20s. Where was your tournament that year?
That was a really cool tournament. That was in Megève in the south of France. That was in the ski.
Wow.
So that was a big. The best stories you'll probably get from that is probably from the parents, because they had a fucking great time at that one. But the best thing, I know it's like a bit of a horrible thing to say, was actually that was the year of the Paris shootings.
Right. Okay.
Mad shootings happened in Paris. So Japan pulled out. They were like, "Oh, we're not."
No relegation.
So, but our schedule couldn't have worked out any better. We were there for 9 days, and it would have been by day 6, we would have played all 4 games that we needed to play. But Japan was our last scheduled game.
Perfect.
So we got to like the day of our last scheduled game, we guaranteed a medal because we'd beaten France and I can't remember. We only lost to Poland. We only lost one game, but we ended up getting bronze.
Oh, that was right. It was by like a goal or something stupid, wasn't it?
Because Poland beat us like bad. Poland beat us like 9-0. So we got pretty screwed over on that. But then we beat the rest of the teams. And then by, I think, the second or third day of us being told, you guys, we were staying at this beautiful, I've still got actually the photos on my phone because it was that fucking nice. We were staying at this beautiful ski resort that we got put up in. And by the time it was like 48 hours after Tommy Watkins and Slava had said, right, you boys are good until our flight on this day, 48 hours later, not a single taxi would take you if you had a British accent.
Oh, really? Because you boys have just been going hard.
Yeah, kicked out of the casino, no pub would let us in, like that. And that was just like, anyone from that trip will also tell you, like, that was like, people hated us in that small ski town.
Yeah, just a riot. You boys just running wild.
So everyone was like trying to wear like they packed like one bit of street clothes instead of GB clothes, and you would wear them for like the rest of the time because you just didn't want to be caught out in your GB stuff.
No, you definitely don't want to be in your GB gitch. Those trips were so much fun. You can't really ever tell too much about what goes on them because you're supposed to be representing your country right enough, and
absolutely. But
it's
for me,
wild
and stuff once your job's over.
Oh, absolutely. So when we won gold in Lithuania, and we had a similar situation. I think we won gold on the Friday. I think we beat Lithuania, win the gold on the Friday, and our flight was either Sunday night, Monday morning. Can't remember what it was, but it was just basically, and we were under 18s, but in Lithuania, no one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like nobody cared. So we just were in the bars drinking from the minute we finished until we got on the plane. I remember the guy. I'll tell this story. Statute of limitations is gone. I remember when we got to the airport in Lithuania. And by the way, like we were buying fags from over the road because they were 60 cent for 20 Marlboro Red or 20 Marlboro Lights, right? So I remember my kit bag was already full, and then we got to the airport. And I remember Kurt Reynolds walking out and he had like 2,000 fags in each hand. And then the boys went, there's no security cameras in that fucking thing. And next thing, the boys are just filling their fucking kit bags full of packs of 800 Bensons and like, bottles of vodka and that, putting the kit back onto the plane. That shouldn't be happening if you're representing GB. And I mean, you won't get away with it now because there's cameras and stuff everywhere. But I was just like, this is wild. We're all just in the customs nicking fags out of the fucking airport. Oh, good times. But you can bring them back in, I don't know, then probably 6-7 quid a packet. You would be even paying 60 cent or they were free. So when you were like GB18s, that was solid. You were you're coming back for the trip, making a nice little 300-400 quid earner on the back of it.
So making £100 at that point would have been phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's like when you were young and like, had no money, it would have been fucking great. Right, you did do the Elite League thing. Why did you choose Dundee Stars, and why did you choose that year specifically after having a couple of good seasons in Peterborough, obviously winning trophies? What made you decide that that was the time to step up and go and do that?
So obviously, a big influence for me was obviously I was already with Michelle.
True.
So I was with Michelle my 2 years in Peterborough, and then it got to the point halfway through my second year in Peterborough at the Christmas break, I came up and trained with Dundee.
Right. Okay.
There's Rab Brown, who owns the Comets, like the amateur team I play for now. He knew Michelle as well, and like I was like, oh look, I think I can get him a trial session or something like that, and we'll see where it goes. So I went and did that trial session at Christmas. Lefebvre wanted to sign me there and then, but as much as I was on a 2-year deal, in Peterborough, I wanted to finish the season.
Kind of honour it and just get the job done.
Yeah, so I was like, right, I'll do the rest of the season, and then if you still feel the same about me come summer, and I still feel the same about coming up, then I'll come up, no problem. Because I felt like at the time when I was training with them and I had that kind of session with them, I was like, hang on, like I can still compete here. Yeah. I can still play. So that's where it came to the point of like, right, okay, season's ended now. I got the phone call from Lefebvre and I was like, yeah, sweet. That was ready to go. Next season was all good.
And you obviously get that first taste of the elite league. Other than the practice, you get your first games under your belt. Did you notice a considerable difference stepping up from the league below, or were you were kind of you were in that grace period where the EPL was still decent and still like quite a few imports, right?
I felt quite spoiled because not I felt like it was weird. Not every import in the Elite League could have played in the EPL.
Not for shit, not even close.
So I felt
Fans still don't get that to this day, Cam. By the way,
no, but this is why it's quite hard for me to describe and talk to like guys that have only played in Scotland or like only because all they see is like SNL and then Elite League. Which so you can understand why they have this view of like, well, the EPL couldn't have been much because it's only 5 imports. And I'm like, see, there were some imports in the EPL that I think, not naming any names, apart from if they hadn't just played for Edinburgh and they managed to get like a good contract somewhere else.
you imagine putting Bakaric on the second line in Nottingham with power play time.
That's what I mean.
Jonas Hoog for Sheffield Steelers were 2 fucking imports. Are you taking the
I had it
piss?
because I'm like, I've played with some phenomenal players, but like I still haven't seen many guys able to rip the puck like Bakalic could, or like had the strength that he had. So it's
He's a
like,
freak.
so I'm looking, I'm just like, but why didn't he make it in the Elite League? And I'm like, oh, wait a second. All of those guys were getting paid way more money in the EPL.
Oh yeah, absolutely, way more money.
So it's
And
like, why wouldn't you?
the hockey was great in the EPL. At the latter stages, when I came in, it was still a bit rough around the edges. 3 imports, it wasn't quite there. Bumped it up to 4, started to get there, started to improve year upon year, and then it went 5, and it was really good. And the hockey was deep, and the Brits were good. Some teams less fortunate than others when it come down to finances, but you mean your top half of the league, they were like legit ice hockey teams.
Well, it proved it when there was preseason games between Elite League and EPL, and they were competitive.
Yeah.
Like, make no question about it. Like, those teams had to try to beat us, and sometimes the result went in the EPL's favor and things like that. And it's just like people underestimated that league.
100%.
And it's just a shame now where it's like, oh, well, no, so the national is just what you played in. And I'm like, no, it still was different. And I'm not taking anything away from the guys
it's
at
different.
National League now. And I'm not taking anything away from like the guys that are getting 100 points in the National League. But can I truly believe that they would get that same point production?
No, they wouldn't.
I just don't think so.
Well, for starters, there's the physicality aspect. Like, I feel right now, like, even though I've been off the ice for such a long time, I watch that National League right now, and I'd be like, I'll just go stand in front of that. Do what the fuck I like, because nobody's going to touch me. It's soft as shit. It's soft as shit. Like, I watch it in Basingstoke last year, every weekend, the season prior as well. 1 in 10, you get like a bit of a. It wasn't like that. Like, every shift back then, there was guys that were going to run you through the fucking boards, keep you accountable. If you did something stupid, you're going to have to answer, and that takes its toll as well. Like, that completely takes its toll. You might be a goal scorer, you might be whatever, but the game was tougher then in terms of having to be accountable. If hey, you're Kieran Brown and you clip my import's knee, you're fair game.
Yeah.
Whereas now he gets and I don't know if it's the right terminology, but he gets like the Gretzky treatment. He does. And you can't do that to him. You got to upset that kid because he's too good.
I mean, I think he's impressive, right? I watch like their highlights and stuff, and I just look at him and I'm like, sometimes it's like, fucking, is everyone else on slow motion and his part of the video is sped up and stuff? And I'm just like, he's just flying around. And boys that I know too.
He's got it up there too, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at these videos going, well, fuck, like I know that defenseman is way quicker than me. I know that for a fact. Like I'm looking at guys that he's.
I don't like I got ankle weights on right now.
Yeah, and I'm like, he's fast. Like I look at other defensemen. Obviously, I watch more games and think, okay, I know that D man. I know like, and I'm like, he's just made him look awful. And I know man. Like,
Yeah, I know he's good.
yeah,
And we touched on it off air when we were talking. It was that kind of thing that you brought up. It's like when Mac Howlett came back down. Obviously, Mac was another one of the Blue Army Southwest boys that we had come through the program. Always been a beautiful skater. Him and Josh Waller, both since they were like little guys, unbelievable skaters. When he came back down from Dundee and come to Leeds, it's like Jesus. He is so fast. He's bigger now. He's obviously filled out. He's strong.
yeah.
And you're talking about like guys that move fast. So because Kieran's built differently, people sleep on his speed. I was like, he's still moving fast. I don't know if anybody, and Google this, Instagram it, type in whatever. Look at a sprinter, and what it is a woman who's running 18 miles an hour, and she's 5'2", shredded as shit, yeah. And then what it does, it shows you like a linebacker running at 18 miles an hour. He's 6'4", 240. The difference of how that speed looks, she's running like her life depends on it, like she about to get run over by a train.
Yeah.
He looks like he's strolling in the park, but the speed is exactly the same as 18 miles an hour. Sometimes Kieran looks like he's strolling, and then you go, shit, he's 3 steps past me.
Yeah. No.
Where's that happened? Like, mate, do you think he's Elite League ready?
Oh, beyond it. I think like to call him Elite League ready is a bit of an insult to
Yeah,
where
my
he's.
bad, Kieran. Sorry, I just heard that back.
But then I also don't think he should do it.
I also agree with that. Like
Because
it was,
for me,
well, the only thing that gets me on that is if there's a Brit that deserves to be on that plane going to play in Pool A against Czech and Sweden and Canada, he's definitely one of them. If they're not going to select him, he has to go Elite League next year because I want to see him play for Team GB.
absolutely, and like I can only go off like my experience with jumping up to the Elite League. Like for me, apart from maybe my first 3 or 4 games before I then got hurt, which then progressed into other things and other things, I was never better in Dundee than what I was in Peterborough.
I get exactly what you're talking about. Like
For
I
a
did
second,
two-way thing like when I stepped up from Swindon to Basingstoke in the Elite League. To me, like I stepped up, I was like, this is way easier. Like I just
thing,
do my job. Like, what's my job? That's the job. Okay, I'm gonna do that.
yeah, no. So I wouldn't blame him if he wanted to stay in that national league for the rest of his career. I really wouldn't.
I wouldn't either.
Because why would he go be a smaller fish in a team that isn't going to value him as much? He isn't going to be what he is where he's at.
What about if Belfast come calling? Because you know they'll play their Brits over there like the way they should. Steve Thornton, Adam Keefe. If they came, they said, Kieran, we're going to bring you in. We're going to give you third 9 minutes, second power play unit every week. We guarantee it. If someone gets hurt, we're going to bump you on the first line. I still think he could score fucking 50 points in that league. Like, not a doubt in my mind. Like, not you've either got it or you haven't, Cam.
Oh no,
And
absolutely.
he's got it. Like,
No,
legitimately got it.
no, I don't disagree with you for a second, but I struggle to see a world where an elite league team is going to be like, you know what, we're going to take a chance on you rather than we could just go get this import that's just come straight out of college who might do as well as you. And if not, it's no biggie. We can send him home.
Okay, but let me ask you another question. And boys, please don't take this disrespectfully, because I rate all of you very, very highly. But it's to make my point. Ben Davis, Lakovic, John Phillips in the later stages of his career, Matty Myers later stages of his career. You're telling me you're not willing to take a risk on Kieran Brown over any of those boys? Like, you're fucking wild. You're wild if you're a GM in that league and you're not willing to take a risk on a guy that could fucking score you 50 points. for trading that in. Don't get me wrong, all very, very great hockey players, brilliant defensively. But you're looking at trading 10, 8, 17, 15 points for 50 points. That's a lot different. And I know coaches are looking for different things, but there's 9 million guys in the US and Canadian systems that can play fourth line roles. There's not many Brits that could score you that amount of points. Look, is he better than Luke Ferrara? Yes, he is. Did Luke Ferrara lead the Elite League in goals? Yes, he did. Like, if we just go like straight at it and be ruthless and be real, Kieran Brown is a much, much better sniper than Luke Ferrara ever is. Luke Ferrara is a very, very good goal scorer. Like, I played with Luke when he was younger in Peterborough, great goal scorer. Continued it on. People said he couldn't do it. He went on and he did it. He led the Elite League. 36 goals, I think he got that year. Phenomenal. Kieran Brown could score more goals than that guy.
If they trusted him to put into a role that Luke ended up in.
And Luke got fantastic. Danny Stewart, absolutely brilliant for Luke in Coventry. You need a guy like Danny Stewart in your corner going, hey, kid, you're legit, man. Just keep putting the puck in the net. Like, I'm gonna keep putting you on the ice. You keep doing you. Like, don't change anything. You're fucking sick. And just a coach telling you that, you're like, okay, I feel great. Next time that puck comes in your stick in the slot, the tiny holes that the goalies leave, and I don't think you fans actually get it when you shoot from anywhere. The goalies don't leave much space. So when you're that little bit more confident and your coach has got your back, those holes that are that big are that big. Those holes in a 5-hole are that big. Yeah. They feel that big because because you know if you miss, you're going to get another opportunity. You might score. You're going to go back to the bench. Your coach is going to go, you got it. You're good. You got it. And Danny Stewart must have done that because I know when Feds went to Nottingham, he didn't get any sort of treatment like that. And without fucking saying